You are not who you think you are. The person reading this, the one who shows up at work, who smiles at the right moments, who knows exactly what to say to keep the peace, that person is a construction, a very convincing one, so convincing that you forgot you built it. But somewhere underneath, the real you is suffocating, not dying. You are stronger than that, but suffocating, running out of air, running out of patience, running out of reasons to keep pretending. Jung had a name for the mask. He called it the persona, and the Stoics had a warning for anyone who confused the mask with their face. Think about the last time you were completely alone. Not alone in a room while texting someone. Not alone while watching content. Truly alone. No audience, no expectations, no one to perform for. Did you feel relief, or did you feel lost? Because if you have been wearing the mask long enough, solitude does not feel like freedom. It feels like vertigo. You take off the costume and you are not sure what is underneath. You know the mask. You know it intimately. It is the composed voice you use when you are actually furious, the smile you offer when you are devastated, the "I am fine" that rolls off your tongue so smoothly it barely registers as a lie anymore. It is the way you shrink yourself around certain people, the way you inflate yourself around others, the constant, exhausting calculation of which version of you this moment requires, and you tell yourself it is just social skill, just maturity, just knowing how to read a room. But there is a difference between adapting and disappearing, and you crossed that line years ago. Marcus Aurelius, who wore the heaviest mask in the ancient world, the mask of emperor, spent his private hours trying to take it off. His journal, the Meditations, is not the writing of a man at ease with his public role. It is the writing of a man desperate to find the truth beneath the performance. He knew what you are beginning to suspect. The mask that protects you is the same mask that imprisons you. Jung distinguished between the persona and the self with surgical precision. The persona, taken from the Latin word for the masks actors wore in Roman theater, is the social face. It is the interface between your inner world and the outer world. Everyone has one. Everyone needs one. The problem is not having a persona. The problem is being the persona, believing the mask is the face. Jung observed that in modern society, people identify so completely with their social role that they lose access to their actual personality. The successful businessman becomes nothing but a successful businessman. The devoted mother becomes nothing but a devoted mother. The strong friend becomes nothing but the strong friend. And when circumstances strip that role away, a redundancy, a divorce, the children leaving, they collapse. Not because they are weak, but because the role was all they had. Beneath it was a void they had never furnished. The Stoics arrived at the same insight from a different direction. Epictetus made a distinction that is, once you hear it, impossible to forget. He said there are things that are ours and things that are not ours. Your body, your reputation, your social role, these are not truly yours. They can be taken. They can change. What is yours, what can never be taken, is your capacity for choice, your rational mind, your character. But most people invest everything in the things that are not theirs. They pour their identity into their job title, their relationship status, their image, and when those things shift, they shatter. Seneca watched this happen throughout Roman society. He saw men who were senators in public and strangers to themselves in private, men who could govern provinces but could not sit with their own thoughts for an hour. He called it the most common form of madness, the kind that goes undiagnosed because everyone suffers from it. The mask forms early. A child learns quickly which expressions earn affection and which earn punishment. The child who is praised for being quiet learns to suppress noise. The child who is rewarded for achievement learns to suppress rest. The child who is loved for being easy learns to suppress difficulty. Each suppression adds a layer to the mask. And by adulthood, the mask is so thick, so habitual, so interwoven with your sense of self that removing it feels not like liberation, but like annihilation. This is why people resist authenticity even when they crave it. The mask feels like safety. Taking it off feels like free-falling. The mask has a price, and you are paying it every day. The first cost is energy. Maintaining a performance requires constant vigilance. You must monitor every interaction for cues, adjust your behavior in real time, suppress what is real, and project what is expected. This is cognitively and emotionally exhausting. If you are someone who feels drained after social interactions, even pleasant ones, this is often why. You are not introverted, you are performing. The second cost is intimacy. You cannot be loved for who you are if no one knows who you are. The mask receives the affection, not you. And the gap between being praised and feeling seen grows wider with every compliment directed at the character you play. The third cost is the one that matters most. You lose access to yourself, your actual desires, your genuine opinions, your real emotional responses. These become so buried under the performance that you cannot find them even when you try. You sit in a restaurant and cannot decide what you want because you have spent years choosing what others would approve of. You stand at a crossroads in your career and feel paralyzed because you have never asked what you want, only what would look right. Marcus Aurelius called this the deepest failure, not to lose a battle or an empire, but to lose oneself. Nowhere is the mask more destructive than in close relationships. Because in intimacy, the mask creates a paradox. The closer someone gets to you, the more threatened the mask feels. And the more threatened the mask feels, the harder you perform. The person who loves you begins to sense the gap. They feel the distance but cannot name it. They reach for you and find the performance instead. And slowly, the relationship becomes a dance between two surfaces, your mask and their confusion. Some people respond by trying harder to see behind the mask. These are the ones who say, "I feel like I do not really know you," and it stings because they are right. Others stop trying. They accept the performance, and the relationship becomes comfortable but hollow. Two people sharing a life but never truly meeting. Seneca observed that a man who cannot be honest with himself will inevitably be dishonest with those closest to him, not from malice, but from habit. The mask does not know how to come off selectively. It is all or nothing. And so the person you love most is often the person who knows you least. Removing the mask is not a single dramatic act. It is a slow, deliberate process of allowing the real to surface while the performance gradually recedes. It begins with small honesty, not radical, theatrical vulnerability. That is often just another performance, but simple, quiet truth-telling. Admitting you are tired instead of saying you are fine. Saying you disagree instead of nodding along. Choosing to be quiet when the mask would have you fill the silence with charm. The Stoics practiced this through what Epictetus called ascesis, training. Not training to become better performers, but training to become more honest, to narrow the gap between what they said and what they meant, between how they appeared and how they were. There will be discomfort. People who knew the mask will be confused by the face. Some will prefer the mask. Let them. Because the people who stay for the face, for the unpolished, uncertain, imperfect reality of you, those are the people worth keeping. Jung warned that the process of removing the persona could trigger anxiety, identity confusion, even depression. This is normal. You are not breaking down. You are breaking open. The mask was a cocoon. It served its purpose. But you cannot fly inside it. What lies beyond the mask? Jung called it the self. Not the ego, not the persona, but the totality of who you are. Light and shadow, strength and fragility, ambition and rest. The self does not need to perform because it is not afraid of being seen. It does not curate because it has nothing to hide. It is not perfect. It is integrated. It contains contradictions and holds them without breaking. This is what the Stoics meant by living in accordance with nature, not the nature of rivers and trees. Your nature, your actual, complete, unedited nature. Marcus Aurelius spent his life reaching for this. He never claimed to have arrived. That was the point. The work itself was the destination. You do not take off the mask and find a finished person underneath. You find a beginning. And that beginning is more honest, more vital, more alive than any performance ever was. 3 practices for the week ahead. First, conduct a persona audit. In your journal, list the top 5 roles you play, at work, in your family, in friendships, in public. For each role, write down what you suppress to maintain it. What emotions, opinions, or desires do you hide to keep the performance intact? Second, choose one relationship and lower the mask by 1 degree. Not a full unveiling, just 1 degree. Share one opinion you have been withholding. Express one need you have been suppressing. Say one honest thing you would normally edit. Third, spend 30 minutes in complete solitude with no input, no phone, no music, no content. Sit with whatever emerges. If it is boredom, sit with boredom. If it is anxiety, sit with anxiety. This is the beginning of meeting the person behind the mask. Seneca wrote that the greatest waste of life is postponement, living always in preparation for a tomorrow that never truly arrives. The mask is a form of postponement. It says, I will be real later. I will be honest when it is safe. I will show who I am when the conditions are right. But the conditions are never right. safety never arrives. And one day you realize that the person you were waiting to become was the person you were suppressing all along. The mask served you. Honor that. It kept you safe in rooms where safety was not guaranteed, but you are not in those rooms anymore. And the person underneath has been waiting long enough. If this video gave you something, the free Stoic Field Guide linked in the description goes deeper. It is the simplest way to begin meeting the self beneath the mask. Subscribe to stay with this work. And in the next video, we confront something the mask was built to protect you from: the fear of being alone. Why that fear runs so deep, and what it reveals about the parts of yourself you have never learned to sit with. Until next time, be sovereign.